The year is 2024. PBS Plus has just launched, bringing the world's streaming services to 4,387. How can anyone be expected to go through all this content? Fear not, loyal passengers. Captain Joe Shoes and his first mate Mez are here to travel through space and time to bring you the best nuggets pop culture has to offer. Strap in, folks. It's time for the JoeMeZ podcast.
Yo! What is up, everyone? You are in the middle of Triple H's Great Week. And this is an emergency edition of the JoeMeZ podcast. I am your navigator, Captain Joe Shoes, and with me, as always,
I'm Mez. What's up, everybody?
Gomez. We have called for the first time in the 7-8 years that we've been doing this. It'll be 8 years this year that we've been doing this podcast.
Crazy.
So for the first time in 8 years, we have called an emergency edition of the podcast because fuckboy Triple H got me so fired up last night. And even after sleeping on it, I'm still fucking livid.
I love it. When my boy goes, "Hey, you around today? Cause I'm fired up about this." I said, "Let's go. I'm not putting out that fire, baby. Let's go."
Listen, as a performer, I've said this plenty of times. I'm just not a Triple H fan. He's not a tier one. He's not that S level tier. It's not like he's fucking terrible. It's just I don't look at him in the same vein. He's not a Rushmore guy. You know what I mean? But as an executive, I look at him and I go, he's well-spoken. He understands the business. He spent a lifetime in it. He's a fan of the early days. Everything I have seen or heard about Triple H as an executive seems to be pretty fair. Seems to be like he's a guy who understands it, a guy who learned the business side of things, a guy who married into the business side of things, so it became a family business. But this week, Gomez, the news came out that Vince McMahon was going back to court, and this woman who had filed a claim against him last year was back with new allegations, new testimony, new evidence. If you read the court document, it got worse as you went.
It's something. I didn't read all of it. I was just like, this is like just the.
Oh, you know who else didn't read it? Triple H, the CCO of the company.
Bro, when he said that, it's just, we're not asking for much, but just pretend to it, right? You're in the business.
First off,
what are we doing?
The Vince news comes out. It is harrowing to read.
Terrible.
It is awful to read. I don't want to hear about Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, none of that. Black, white, I don't care. As a human person, as a decent human being, everybody should look at this and go, oh, fuck. Now, we all understand the Royal Rumble is Saturday. WWE's been building this up. We're selling tickets to WrestleMania in Philly. We're on the right sign pointing season, right?
Yes,
and they like to do their press conferences. You have to know going in. And the Rumble show as a whole, now we don't even need to talk about it on our show. Very mediocre. Mediocre top to bottom, both Rumbles, neither one very good. The two matches in between, neither one very good. A very, this is just here pay-per-view for me.
I have fun with the Rumble because it's the Rumble, but it's not like, man, that was a good ass Rumble. Just like, yes, you know.
No,
hey,
like
what were
the big moments?
The guy pointed at the sign, and then the other guy pointed at the sign.
Yeah, very much just a PLE. I'm sorry, I called it a pay-per-view, but it's a premium live event now. Excuse my terminology.
Right, get it right, bro.
I don't want to piss off the guy I'm shitting on. You know what I mean? Because this is what he'll care. This is what'll ruin his week.
That's all. Yes, that's all he'll talk about.
Not what actually went on within his family. It's the fact that I said PPV instead of PLE. That will ruin Paul's week. But knowing you're going to have a press conference, and this is where I look at it, and I say WWE cannot have it both ways. You know, in the past, I talk about the performers who want to be thought of as people and characters separately. You know, when I say kayfabe may be dead, but there's still a layer of it where if you're posting all this cool stuff of you and your sweet family and you're doing this and you're doing that, like people have a hard time buying into you when you try to be a heel now. I think there is still a level to that. Wrestling is not judged the same way as traditional sports, as traditional entertainment. And now WWE, who for years has wanted to get out of the stigma of fake, cartoony pro wrestling, they've wanted to be legitimate. They've wanted to be thought of as more of a real business. They want to be covered by ESPN. Now they come to this press conference and they don't want hard questions. They don't want real questions.
No.
They wanted people to come there and they got them because these are not real journalists.
Yes, they don't care really.
No, these are just people, bloggers. And listen,
it's me and you. We could be there. We could
exactly.
be there doing it.
That's the thing. And John Alba, who I don't know what site he writes for. I've seen him, you know, on X or Twitter, whatever. It's a name I see.
Yeah.
He asks a very fair question.
Standard. You would imagine.
Question.
You figured this would be coming. Here we go.
If you're Triple H, if you're Nick Khan, if you're Stephanie McMahon, if you're The Rock, if you're Ari Emanuel, if you're Dana, if you are anyone, anybody that has anything to do with TKO, with WWE, if you are a living, breathing person who has any kind of involvement in this company, you have a pre-written statement. Anybody. And this jerk off, Triple H, Paul Levesque, this human waste of space, because that's what this is. That's what this is. This is what it's come to. Instead of just saying, listen, I understand the need to ask the question. You quote me on this. Maybe Paul will listen to this. Maybe he can have someone jot it down for him so he can read it off his fucking legal pad after he puts on his readers next time. Write it down, Paul. This is an ongoing legal matter. It is a situation that we obviously take very seriously. As of right now, Vince McMahon is no longer involved with WWE or TKO in any matter. So we are not going to comment further at this time. We are going to move past this, but trust us that we are doing a full investigation into these allegations. That is all that needed to be said.
The standard scandal response. That's what you say. That's it. I can't say nothing. Sorry, my lawyers won't let me talk about it. That's it, bro.
That is all that needed to be said. The press had to ask the question.
Yes, of course. You have to. Because then
Triple H has to know it's coming. It's got to come from someone. It's just a matter of who's going to be the one with the balls to ask Triple H the question. John Alba was that guy. So thank you to John Alba for actually doing what he's there for. Another reporter, I don't remember the name, followed up and asked another question, but Triple H started even his answer to John Alba with, oh, well, I'm going to do what y'all think I'm going to do. I only want to talk about the good stuff. No, that's not what we thought you were going to do. That's not what we thought.
That's not what we thought at all.
You don't get to say we're a legitimate company and then try to get people to judge you like you're the fucking fake-ass bullshit pro wrestling. We're just that cartoony wrestling. You don't get both ends of it, Triple H. You don't. And the ball's on you to it's not that we expected you to go into detail. Obviously, there's probably a good chance that he's going to be called in to have to testify in this case.
Yes,
if it does make it to court. How much did he know? What was his level of involvement? Was he involved at all? How far back does this go? How many other people are involved? If you read the lawsuit, the 60-something page lawsuit that the CCO of the company claims, I haven't even read it. I just found out this, like Cody said, we just found out at the same time.
Insane statement to say, I haven't read the lawsuit. What's your job then, bro? What are you doing?
It's not just that this is your company. This is your father-in-law. This is the grandfather to your children. So now, if I'm there with a press pass, excuse me, Paul, would you have felt comfortable if any of your daughters were working for a boss like Vince McMahon? I want to know the answer to that. Because this obviously wasn't important to him. It wasn't important to the company to have a prepared statement ready. It was just swished aside so we could talk about we had a great week. We had a great week.
What?
I understand that they drew a hell of a house in St. Petersburg at Tropicana Field. That's great. The business is cooking right now.
Booming, baby. It's good shit.
You're telling me that this lawsuit, these allegations against the most important and influential person in the history of the business of professional wrestling have zero importance to you because of the way you just flicked it aside and said, I only want to talk about good things. We're getting $5 billion from Netflix. Yeah, I only want to talk about good things too, Triple H, but that's not the way the real world works. That's not the way life goes. And you sanctimonious piece of shit, should have known that going in. How fucking difficult is it to say, these are very serious allegations. It's an ongoing court case, and we will discuss it when the time is right. Unfortunately for now, Vince McMahon is out of the picture, and we're moving on without him. It's not. That's all we wanted. Give us the textbook answer, and we would have moved on. Instead, you made things worse because you're a fucking idiot. And Cody Rhodes was on that stage, on that dais, 5 minutes before you. Got asked the same question.
Yes.
Didn't say anything about anything.
Nope.
But his answer was a hell of a lot better than yours. So I don't know if Cody's principles of leadership class at AEW was a little bit better than what you got in Stanford.
Maybe.
But maybe you should go to that class.
Triple H said Cody answered good enough for us. That's good. I'm off the hook. We're good.
Unbelievable. When you think about what else has gone on this week with noted McMahon family friend and WWE Hall of Famer, convicted sexual assaulter, former President Donald Trump. That's a real conviction. That's not a political witch hunt. He's been convicted. They said, this is a guy who has committed this, and now he is forced, on top of the damages he paid for that, because he's continued to defame the person in the case, now he's got to pay an additional $80 million. So I want to know, since Trump is a noted McMahon family friend, have him and Vince been shooting texts back and forth about what they get to do to girls? When I do something cool, I tell my friends.
Of course. They seem like they're two people who love to brag about stuff.
But this is the mentality. When you have this kind of money and you have this kind of power, there comes a point where you test the limits of it. And you want to push the limits of it and see how much you can get away with, because the rules don't apply to you like they do to normal people. We say that all the time, right?
Yes.
So now everybody in the world loves the word accountability until JoeMeZ, until you are the one being held accountable.
Of course. We
all love a new boss who's going to come in and straighten things out until you're the one that needs straightened out. Then it's, what are you doing there? I'm not the problem. It's these 11 people. And we have let in this country corporate greed, leadership, management get away with so fucking much for so fucking long that they feel invincible. And not just the wrestling part of it. Obviously, the wrestling makes it more of a scandal because it's popular culture and it's things people follow. And it's things people are emotionally invested in. Like myself sitting here today. Obviously, you can tell I'm a little bit emotional today. But when you let things go unchecked, people just keep pushing. And Vince McMahon never got any pushback. As CM Punk once said, he's surrounded by doofus yes men, and look where it has gotten him. Now, this is still an open case. This is going to go to trial, barring a settlement. How much of it is true? We'll find out. But for the CCO of the company to abdicate all responsibility to even make a statement, you know what this reminds me of? Because I'm hot. I'm fucking hot.
Here we go. What's it remind you of?
Remember, like 2 years ago, we had the Dark Side of the Ring episode on the plane ride from hell.
Oh, yes, of course.
And fucking jerk off Tommy Dreamer, everybody's best friend, right?
That's
Tommy
right,
Dreamer.
Yes.
Instead of just saying, listen, the times were different. It was 20 years ago. Obviously, we wouldn't act the same way today. And especially now, as the father of a couple of young girls, I would hope that my daughters are never placed in a similar situation as that woman was in that day. All he had to say. Now, I don't know how much in the magic of editing his statement was changed around.
Sure.
There is a level to that. But what he did say, at least on this show, was, you can't really hold us responsible. People find anything offensive. I have 2 knots in my hair, so people probably find that offensive. That's what he compared a sexual assault to.
What a fucking
Tommy
asshole.
Dreamer compared a sexual assault
fucking dick
to an in-flight crew member to putting a double knot in his little ponytail. I understand that acts from 20 years ago or statements from 20 years ago do not necessarily represent the person you are today. We all make mistakes. We all do dumb shit. We all say things that we wouldn't say nowadays. I certainly have. But the idea that we would trivialize such serious matters as we do with sexual assault in the workplace because we want to defend who? A fucking billionaire? A fucking billionaire who's had his way of everything for over 40 years, had his run of the roost. God only knows what other stories are out there, what other people are involved in them or covering them up or being involved in a very first-hand account manner. God only knows. Being in the business for over 20 years, we've all heard stories. You hear stories about everything, right? Whenever you work anywhere, you hear stories. Oh, this person did this, you know, years ago, back in the day, there was this.
Yes.
You always hear stories. There's always workplace gossip. And the wrestling business is no different. Paul Levesque is fucking pathetic. If you think that was a responsible statement by an executive in the company to give, knowing full well, walking onto that stage, what question was going to be asked of him, then you are a genuine idiot. No, nothing more, nothing less. We did not need Paul Levesque to give us every intricate detail of the knowledge of the case. That's not what we were there for. And that's not what we were asking for. But the fact of the matter is, this is a very newsworthy story for his business. This is a very newsworthy individual for his business. And as someone who sat on that dais yesterday and claimed to love the history of this business, he needs to be smarter. Last night, he showed he wasn't very smart. Last night, he showed he wasn't considerate. Last night, he showed he has no empathy. Last night, Paul Levesque showed he's a piece of shit. And, you know, I know the way the news cycle works. Like, you know, in 2 days, this will be over.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll go on and everyone will go to WrestleMania. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say boycott WWE. That's not going to work and no one's going to listen to me. People want their entertainment. For a lot of people, WrestleMania trips, they make them every year. That's their vacation that they save up for every year. Or maybe they've saved up for a couple years to be able to go to their first WrestleMania. And you know what? I went to a WrestleMania last year. I've been to, God, I couldn't even tell you how many WWE live events over the past couple of decades. Couldn't even tell you. And I get you don't want that ruined for you. But like with anything, think about where you spend your money. There are people in life that you will not agree with, that you will not like, but you still have to live with them, work with them, be involved in the community with them. This is not that. This is not simply disagreeing with someone. This is someone who honestly showed that he could not care less about sexual assault running rampant through the company that he is now an executive for. To Paul Levesque, this doesn't matter. To Paul Levesque, this may blow over and Vince can just come back again. That's what he showed last night. He walked into the room with a pre-written joke about the Forbidden Door and AEW, yet couldn't have a statement ready for this.
He figured that's what people be talking about. That's it, right? Oh, he made fun of AEW. Oh, my God. Right? That's it.
All he had to do was the bare minimum, and he couldn't even be bothered. So fuck you, Paul Levesque. Fuck you so fucking hard.
Our boy is fired up, folks. I love it.
It's not hard. I don't have media training. And yet I was able to come up with a statement in 3 seconds.
I don't know. It seems hard, right? Because
I shouldn't even be saying this, right? Because of my involvement within whatever. This should be common courtesy 101, common expression 101. This is not difficult. And how a senior executive of this company did not, I'm going to give you, I just want to really focus on the good stuff. We had a great week. A great week. The same fucking week.
Same week, bro.
Didn't have a lot. Was enough, but it was still
same
great,
week, bro. It was sandwiched in between the goodness, actually.
I hate to think that is the man who is the father of 3 young girls. That may seem a little extreme. I don't think it is. But I don't take sexual assault lightly, like some people. You got anything else to add, JoeMeZ?
No, baby. I think you did a bang-up job. Like I said, bare minimum. Do you think Nick Khan comes up to him, he's like, yo, you want to write a statement? Triple H goes, oh, I got this, and walks off? Because there's no way, like, someone signed off on, yeah, Triple H, that's what you should do at that press conference, right? Like, that's impossible.
There had to be. Or just cancel the press conference. Number one.
There was no need for a press conference. You don't have to do a
press conference. That's
you don't have to do it.
When you give people the forum, you're inviting the questions.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't even have to have the press conference in the first place. But when you decide you're going to do it, if you're going to go ahead with it, then I'm sure Nick Khan, Triple H, whoever, someone from legal, there has to be someone from legal at TKO who's going to hand Triple H a statement. Triple H ain't going to write it himself.
No,
Nick Khan's not going to write it himself. Someone from the legal department should be saying, here's what you say. When the question comes up, because it will come up, this is what you say. How about not saying, we had a bang-up week, guys. This is one of the best weeks of my life.
He's like, hey, we're going to take some bonus questions because I didn't really answer it.
Yeah.
Let me get some more
bonus questions. Why don't you ask me about Hulk Hogan? Ask me about Cody. Ask me about the fun stuff. We all want to talk about the fun stuff, Triple H. We don't all get that luxury, and neither should you. When you sit in that chair, you take on a level of responsibility, both for your company, for your shareholders, and especially for the people who work for you. And you chose to do nothing, to not even be the least bit prepared. Thank you guys for listening to the bonus edition of Triple H's incredibly great week. You can follow us all over social media at JoeMeZ. Thank you. Please subscribe, leave a 5-star review wherever it is that you're listening to this. If you disagree with me, this is a me thing. This is me getting it out because I'm fucking livid. Leave JoeMeZ out of it. Come at me. at the Joe Shoes all over social media. I'm not hard to get in touch with.
I ain't scared of the smoke. You can come over here. Joe just said it angrily and loud, but I agree with every single thing my man just said there. So you can bring the smoke this way too. The JoeMeZ 154, Instagram, Twitter. Come and bring it, bro.
We'll obviously not be talking about the Royal Rumble on our upcoming episode this week now that I've gotten it out of my system. But remember, it's the end of musical month beginning into the month of love. So we will be watching Mamma Mia, which is on Netflix, which is a big change from what the content that we just gave you in the past 20 minutes or so. So thank you guys for listening. Obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. It's just that mine is right. So with that said, let's make like Tom and cruise.
Peace.